Commissioner comments, I'd just like to say there's a lot of people here. Many of you are going to want to speak, and I would ask that you respect each other's opinions. Jake, do we have any other commissioner comments?
Nope.
Okay.
We're on opposite ends this week.
Is there any public comments on non-agenda items? Okay, is there any public comments on agenda items?
Yes,
Go ahead, Luke.
I have read the drafted resolution 24/2789 to censure your fellow Commissioner Williams. I find several whereas statements to be troublesome. Whereas statement number 4 infers that elected officials have to reflect the view of the majority is in conflict with whereas statement number 1, of the people, for the people. Elected officials have the responsibility to be respectful, represent, and act in the interest of all of people, and not just the majority. Whereas statement number 5 is an irresponsible and misleading use of statistics from the election. There were 3 candidates running for commissioner position. A majority of people voted against the incumbent. A majority of voters voted against the 3rd candidate. Whereas statement 8 is retaliation for filing of complaint and a violation of Montana Code annotated 49.2-301 and 49.3-209 and likely others. Whereas statement 10 singles out Commissioner Williams when I observed this same conduct of other commissioners. I have tried to work with the Hill County Commissioners for the last 13 years. In this time period, I have observed and experienced increasing hostility in the commission and some county departments toward county employees and the public. The undermining of the public's trust has been occurring for as long as I have been paying attention and not just the last 2 years. The drafting, proposing, and letting it be known of an intention to pass this resolution has already made a point. Putting a censure resolution into the record at the last minute in a time of transition from one commission to another has the appearance of a political and/or personal parting shot. I strongly recommend a do not pass vote on resolution 24/2789. I strongly recommend that the next commission take seriously a process to act in a respectful, responsible, and legal manner to carry out the business of Hill County. This needs to include at least an understanding of responsibilities according to the state constitution and law, as well as effective team development and functioning, effective leadership and public engagement. Thank you.
Is there any further public comments on agenda items?
I will second what Lou just said.
Okay, any further comments on agenda items?
I would like to comment on the same item. My name's Bill Lanier. I'm incoming commissioner, and I would also recommend the same thing. Because I would like to see when I start as of next week, I would like to have a fresh slate, and I would hate to have this go into new year with this hanging over the commission's head. And I would respectfully ask that either it be voted down or withdrawn. Thank you.
Any further public comments on agenda items? I have a letter here that is addressed to the Hill County Commissioners, to Jake Strissel, Mark Peterson, Sherry Williams. This letter is in regards to Sherry Williams. The way she treats people is beyond unbelievable, and we are surprised she's still in office. We've watched Sherry yell at the Commissioner's Secretary, Tiffany Tanner, multiple times, even over things out of her control. There was a time where she was screaming at Tiffany in the office with the door shut, and we had to call HR because we were worried for Tiffany's safety. Sherry also will not answer her phone and will get mad at Tiffany for not answering it when she was not even at her desk. The whole clerk and recorder's office has also watched her dig through Tiffany's desk when she wasn't here. On 11/13 of 2024, Mark asked Sherry to move something of hers into her personal office, and she started screaming at him. She said, I quote, "Fuck you, you old man. Fucking whatever, Mark," and "oh, fuck off." It got so heated to the point that our customers were turning around and making comments about unprofessionalism. Tiffany also has a recording of this incident occurring. Brianna Warren and Lexus Doctor went to Chico for training. They went into Gardner for lunch. They filled up the pickup in Wyoming, which started a whole situation that should not have happened. Sherry had Tiffany stalk Lexus's Facebook, screenshotting posts she made trying to get her in trouble. Jeremy came in and opened the office door. Sherry came in not long after and shuts the door. This happens twice. Sherry told Jeremy it was county policy that we have to have the door closed until we are open. Jeremy opened the door again. She proceeded to say, "What do you think you are doing?" To which Jeremy responded, "You have done your due diligence. Now, if anyone gets in trouble, it's going to be me." She has been recorded so many times and nothing ever comes of it. Everybody acts like she is untouchable because she is a county official. There are things that can be done and should be done. Us workers should not have to feel like we're suffering through the day because we never know how she's going to act and what she's going to do. Sherry has created a hostile work environment and we do not feel safe working with her. She has reported to both HR and the county attorney multiple times, and it gets disregarded every time. This needs to change. It is not fair to us that she can get away with whatever she wants, but we probably wouldn't have a job if we did half of it. And that is signed by the clerk and recorder's office, all the employees. So the next item on the agenda is employment. The hire notification of Tony Smith has been employed by the Justice Court of Record as the Judicial Administrative Assistance Clerk. The full-time position, hire date is 12/23 of 24, starting salary $20.90. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the resolution number 24-2789. A resolution for the formal censure of Hill County Commissioner Sherry Williams. Whereas Hill County is a form of local government of the people, for the people, and by the people. Whereas the Hill County Commission is committed to maintaining the highest standards of integrity, professionalism, and accountability in the conduct of its members. And whereas the Hill County Commission has the authority and responsibility to hold its members accountable to ensure public confidence in local government, and whereas the local government is strongest when those elected reflect the views of the majority of the voters in Hill County. Whereas the majority, 61% of Hill County voters did not vote for Sherry Williams for Hill County Commissioner in the 2022 general election. And whereas Sherry Williams attempted and failed to independently terminate the employment of the executive administrative assistant to the commission without consulting the rest of the Hill County Commission, Hill County Attorney, or Human Resources. And whereas the Hill County Commission made the decision to move the executive administration assistant to the commission position to the clerk and recorder's office to prevent further harassment and intimidation to the current executive administrative assistant to the commission by Sherry Williams. And whereas Sherry Williams made a false police report of physical assault against Commissioner Peterson, and whereas Sherry Williams spread false and defamatory rumors about Commissioner Strissel being a felon and openly questioning his validity of being a county commissioner to the public. And whereas Sherry Williams continues to foster negative and hostile work environment by using oppressive and bullying language to numerous Hill County employees and department leaders. Whereas Sherry Williams' actions have undermined public trust within the county commission and has adversely impacted the effective governance of Hill County, and now therefore be it resolved by the Hill County Commission that Sherry Williams is hereby formally censured for the above stated actions and behaviors. And be it further resolved, the Hill County Commission strongly disapproves of Sherry Williams' conduct and the emphasis on the expectation of adherence to ethical and professional standards by all Hill County Commission members. Be it further resolved, the Hill County Commission calls upon Sherry Williams to take immediate personal action to address the conduct described herein, to assist in restoring public trust, and be it hereby resolved, this resolution will be recorded in the official minutes of the Hill County Commission and made part of the public record. By order of the Board of Hill County Commissioners meeting in regular session this 26th day of December 2024, Havre, Montana. Motion to approve. I will second that motion. So further discussion.
What brought on all this hostility in the first place? Something started it. You know, that it all, and it's exploded. At this point, I mean, something started it. It didn't start the first day she came here, did it?
I think it's been going on for quite a while. She was,
That's not what I'm asking. I said, did it start the first day she came here?
yes,
Yes.
yes, it did.
So why do you think it started? What's your opinion on why this started?
It's, opinion don't matter. It's just what the facts are in this resolution. These are the things that have been going on. So, I mean, you can hypothesize all you want, but it doesn't really matter. What facts are facts, and anything I have is opinion.
You give her the option to rectify her character assassination or whatever, or business.
Oh, we've had many conversations with human resources and the county attorney about this
It's just
over
that
the last 2
negative.
years. Yep. All of us have gone down and
It's,
tried to work with her.
it's impossible to have a conversation with her. She just, she's very defensive. Put it that way.
And it's not like we waited till the last minute on this. We actually wanted to do it last week. We knew she was gonna be gone last week. She's gone this week. Over the last 2 years that she's been a commissioner, she's missed over 30%, or roughly around 30% of our weekly business meetings where we conduct county business on Thursdays at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
I mean, for contrast, I've been here 4 years. I have missed 2 business meetings total. One was for the birth of my firstborn daughter, who was born on a Thursday. The other one, I was on vacation in a wheat or a cornfield in Iowa. So, I mean, and she's missed 2 in the last week or 2
Yeah,
weeks.
she's had the opportunity
Correct.
to rectify the
Mhm.
hostile environment, whatever she creates.
Have you received any legal opinion on the risk of a hostile work environment lawsuit?
We have not.
At this point, it's hard to get the county attorney to discuss anything that might be civil. On that. I think you've heard, the individuals, in the office next door, what they have heard and experienced. Sherry's not here to represent herself, so I'm not gonna be saying too much along those lines, but, it started the first day she took office, really. And she's had it out for me, you know, she was our secretary. There were some things that, we had differences of opinions on there, and she continues to have a difference of opinion. But it started day one.
I have a question. What will this accomplish?
It just basically says that we, the other 2 commissioners, feel that she is not capable of doing the job that a commissioner needs to do. It has no authority, if you will. It's just a statement that we do not feel that she is doing her job.
And you've done that already, it seems like, whether this is in
We
the
have
record or not.
attempted to do that, and that has not changed anything.
Just bringing this up here with publicly seems to me is bringing attention to that, whether this gets passed or not.
Resolution, no matter what, will go in the record, whether it's signed or not, it'll say it wasn't passed. But it's always will be there for a reference.
We've attempted to try and take care of this in-house. We do not want to include the public. This is the last thing we wanted to do. But given everything that's been going on the last couple of years, you know, we feel we need to be transparent with the public on what we've been dealing with.
There have been many comments that we don't communicate with her. She is the one that said she would not sit in this office. She moved into the state in that office, secretary. When we hired a secretary, then she moved her own desk in, but no discussion whatsoever with the other commissioners. Eventually, she kept harassing the secretary enough that, the county attorney came up and moved the secretary out of that office, and she was afraid of a lawsuit. So it's been ongoing from day one. Further discussion.
Does she have ideas that she brings to the table with you guys?
Say again, please.
Does she have ideas
Yes, she
of her
does.
own that she brings to you guys?
Not very often, but, it's usually in a meeting. She doesn't seem to come in and discuss stuff very often. She does occasionally, yes.
And we've gone with her on, she's had some good ideas.
Yeah.
We're not discrediting that. She has brought in some really good ideas that we've passed and, gone forward on.
So you feel she feels like she's been listened to?
I would say yes to that. We don't listen to everything she says. It's just like Jake don't listen to everything I say. You know, we put things on the table and we have discussions. And then we come up with a decision. Further discussion.
So in effect, she hasn't really inhibited the ability of the commissioners to go forward like in business transactions or contracts or anything of such.
I would say there's been times that she's hindered that. Yeah.
She's hindered it.
Not a lot, but there has been times. Further discussion.
I guess my only other comment is, okay, when Bill comes in, is this hostility gonna continue against Bill? Or is everybody gonna work together? You know, I don't know. I mean, you don't know what set her off.
Yeah.
Something set her off.
Contest, I'm the clerk and recorder, that she came in hostile. She called me in 5 days after I had taken office, brand new clerk and recorder. We asked for a special election against the county. I have 60-day turnaround to get that election running and going for an election day. I ordered everything. I spent probably $15,000 ordering stuff for her to turn around and call me a liar. I have two commissioners who were also in that meeting and witnessed this. And so I spent a bunch of money trying to get a special election going and was called a liar 2 weeks later. So it instantly started hostile. So that's just one incident.
Can I mention taxpayer dollars that were thrown in the dump from Rudyard a week ago?
Yeah.
Is this
we
the
do have
wrong
your
place?
letter there if you wanna wait on that, or if you wanna bring that up now, that's totally up to you, ma'am.
I just am talking about my taxpayer dollars that they emptied a freezer everything was frozen in it. And we have pictures of thousands of dollars of food that went to the dump. And some was taken out of a freezer after nothing had thawed. Anything that had thawed, we moved to trucks to go to the dump. We know better. But this was frozen food, and there was probably 900 pounds of just hamburger. And there was ham, and there was a brisket, and she overrode Heather and never checked to see if it was frozen. It was just her opinion, and it all went to the dump. And she also turned us into the sheriff's office for stealing it when we were trying to save it. I'm sorry.
Which goes back to the false police report that we mentioned in the resolution where she made a false police report against Mark. She also recently, which is not covered in this, she made a false, or I don't know if it was her or Heather, I can't say for sure, but a false police report was made against me and the Rudyard Senior Center volunteers for stealing out of the senior center when we were trying to save the meat after the cooler went down.
There was a cooler that hadn't been checked in at least 5 months. And according to the law, freezers that have senior meat in them are supposed to be checked every day. And I have pictures of the filter that is,
We seniors can't eat too much mold.
we haven't had any meals up there for 7 months.
Affects us.
Hey, further
Seems like this
discussion.
discussion is coming to an end. I want to reiterate that in my 13 years of trying to work at the commission, I have noticed an increasing level of hostility, non-cooperativeness from the commission toward the public and toward some of the high office. It's not been just the last 2 years. Now, this might very well be bringing things to a head, but the whole issue of how the commission acts toward the rest of its organization, you can't help, okay, and the public, I think needs to be a serious undertaking of the new commission. Thank you.
Further discussion.
As an individual who lives within Sherry Williams's jurisdiction, under the way the county is set up and the vote on, Sherry, I do not feel is giving justice to her district. She does not participate in much of what's going on up here. I have personally been here to more weekly meetings than she has. And I'm just a taxpayer. I'm not paid to see what I can do to help my district or the county. And it has to be that the commissioners are responsible for the whole county. But you would think that your representative from your area would at least step in and be a part of it.
You're stuck with me, Willie. You're stuck with me, Willie.
Thank you.
Further comments? Further comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, same sign, motion passed 2-0. Okay. Next item on the agenda is contracts and agreements. There's a land lease with, pass it down to Alexis, please. There's a land lease agreement with the, made and entered into by and between Hill County 4-H Foundation and a Montana State University Extension Program, hereinafter referred to as 4-H, and the Hill County hereinafter called Hill County. So I can read this whole thing, or we can just move forward. It's basically the same as the past. I would ask Bob, have you read this at all? This agreement?
Yes.
You guys are good with it on fair side?
Still looking at it real close, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Board is looking at it.
Yeah. This is between the county, and the 4-H, with the Chuck Wagon building is located on the Hill County Fairgrounds.
Motion to approve.
We'll second that.
If anybody'd like copies of it, we'd be more than happy to get those to you.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, same sign. Motion passed 2-0. Go back and sign that, Jake.
Good thing.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is task order number 2, for Road 65 North. It's an H&H study, by Great West Engineering. According to this, the expenses are estimated to total about $7,000.
That road out.
65 North over Sage Creek. So it's 6.5 miles north of Highway 2 in the Sage Creek area.
Motion to approve.
Second. Further discussion? Scope of services under this task order is to provide hydrologic and hydraulic analysis for an existing crossing on Road 65 North over Sage Creek. The scope of services under this task will include the following: calculate peak flows for the site, size replacement culvert or bridge opening for the site meeting Hill County standards. Hydraulic analysis will be performed using HEC RAS and will utilize publicly available elevation data. To topographic surveys or base maps with plans are not included. Summarize analysis and findings in a 2 to 3 page memo. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion passed 2-0. We had a bid opening last week on, a tailwater project, below Beaver Creek Dam. It amounts to about 50 yards distance, and it's rock reinforcement to stop erosion. And, in the bid opening, we had, what was it, 6 bids? I think it was 6 bids, and they ranged from 400,000 down to the one that we did. It looks like we're gonna accept 218,000. So this bid is from Walker River. Great West Engineering went through and checked all of their bid papers to make sure that they had everything in it. And so that's where we're at, 218,000 to Walker River Construction.
And this is a NRC grant, correct?
Yes,
So this doesn't come out of taxpayer dollars. This is something that
some of it may.
but the majority of it is going to be paid through grant that we've been working with, to get for DNRC so that we can get the majority of this thing paid for. So that would be cheaper for us taxpayers.
The remaining dollars that we'll pay for what is not in the grant will come from the irrigators that irrigate out of Beaver Creek Dam. And there's money in that account.
Good question. Is there a 124 permit secured for that project?
There's, I think, well, Fish and Game was out there when we went to it. And, DNRC was there also. So there'll be permits for it, yes. They'll have to meet all that.
And quick question, what was the difference that made it so like $200,000 higher? Was it mobilization? Was it?
You know, I can't say because I didn't go through that part of it. All we got was the total dollar amount. And, Walker River is familiar with the area and they have done several projects there. There was just quite a difference. There was a lot of them in the 250, 260 range.
This TCA group, where are they based out of?
TCA?
Because I'm wondering if there are differences with the mobilization for their equipment.
Oh,
That's probably why it was so large.
Raz.
There was, the Martin Construction, I know is out of North Dakota.
Okay.
TCA looks like it's based out of Billings, and that is the bid for that. Would you like to see?
Appreciate it.
The bids range from 260,000, 277,000, 298,000, 398,000. So there was quite a range in bids. And that is something that all of the counties and cities in the state are experiencing right now because of the ARPA dollars and the COVID dollars that came in. The contractors are looking at this as a good harvest. And, quite frankly, they're having trouble finding employees too, so.
If you don't mind, if I could please take a look at the winning bid, the proposed winning.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it.
That one? Oh, that's North Dakota. Raz. Smith River. I'll have to get you that information. It's probably in here somewhere. Before you go.
I'm just curious about this because we went through this with our expansion, so.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, definitely, definitely. I will make sure to get that.
I
before you
appreciate
leave.
it. Thank you.
Hey, I guess we're ready for a motion.
Oh, sir, motion to approve the award bid, for Walker River Construction.
This might help you a little bit.
Thank you.
Yeah, second motion, further discussion.
Thank you, Great West, for helping us out with all this. They've been a phenomenal organization to work with.
That bring any questions to mind? Do you have any questions at all?
No, all I'm seeing is, the primary cause for that increase was the, channel excavation and embankment. They were like 3 times as much as everybody else. I'm not sure why that would be, unless they had a lot more they were gonna do, compared to the other guys.
Hey, further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, same sign. Motion passed 2-0. Okay, the next, item on the agenda is a 3-year annual testing agreement. This agreement is to continuously renewable according to the terms and conditions detailed herein and constitute a contract between Montana, Wyoming systems. And this is with the Hill County Detention Center. Through the field service representative will, under the listed guidelines, inspect the fire alarm system according to the National Fire Protection Association, provide labor for additional cost to respond to emergency calls and or replace defective parts as required, and provide parts at additional cost to maintain the specific system in a serviceable condition. Terms of the agreement, 2025 year number 1, $3,074. 2026, year number 2, $3,121. And in year 2027, year 3, $3,167. This is for the courthouse, the annex, and the jail.
Motion to approve.
Second motion.
We've been with these folks for quite a few years now, so that predates my time here. They've been really great to work with. I remember one incident, we had alarms going off up at the detention center, and they came up from Wyoming, caught that little puddle jumper up to, or went to Billings, jumped on a plane up here and had it fixed. So they're pretty good to work with. I mean, don't like spending the money on it, but I know that it's a necessary evil.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, same sign. Motion passed 2-0. Board appointments. We have, appointed Kimberly Berg, Public Health Director, to the Abatement Region 2 Governance Committee.
And this is for state opioid abatement funds. When they settled those lawsuits for the national opioid abatement, a lot of money had come down to different states and in turn comes down to counties. I am on the state board and will serve on the governance board for our region. And we're trying our best to get that money out. We are purchasing a vending machine for the health department, where people can access Narcan and different things to help with our opioid problem in our communities in Hill County.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the action needed on a new computer purchase for the executive administrative assistant in the amount of $1,200 plus shipping, and Microsoft Office options in the amount of $330 and $450.
Motion to approve.
Second the motion.
Tiffany's been using a pretty antiquated computer. I don't know how it still runs, to be honest with you. It's been there for quite a while. And now with things changing, like every one of our meetings has to be recorded. It has to be audio and video. So that's taken a lot of data and whatnot, and a lot of terabyte space. And her poor computer just can't handle it all anymore. So it's time that we need to update, and it's just something we got to do.
Don't forget to go with the Microsoft that has the Teams on it, because one has Teams and one does not allow Teams. So you'll need Teams because you guys record via Teams.
Thanks, Lex.
You're welcome. And I think it's the more expensive package for Microsoft stuff.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, same sign. Motion passed 2-0. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a large number of letters. I can read them if you wish, or not, but it is concerning the situation that occurred up at the Rudyard Senior Center, where the law enforcement was called because people were stealing. And in fact, that was not the case. These are letters from the individuals that participated in helping to salvage what they could. And we have not been able to have a discussion with Sherry or with Heather, the Council on Aging Director, since this occurred, to find out their side of the story. But there were 4 men that came up with Sherry on one day. Don't know why or what the situation was, but it made the volunteers up there that were trying to help very uncomfortable. And so if you wish, I will read these letters. Okay, I'm being told yes. So on December 14th, our account of happenings from December 12 at 7 p.m. to this day and time. Glenda called at about 7 p.m. on December 12th, Thursday, looking for freezer space to save the meat and vegetables in the senior freezer as the compressor was really hot and the compressor was in danger of quitting. She noticed the bread was in there, wasn't frozen. Stan and I went down to help, as we have done this in the past when the freezer has quit. Several people were already there taking the stuff to any place they could to keep it frozen and not to lose it. We helped for several hours and our pickup had the majority of the still frozen meat. We arrived back home at about 9:30 that night. We left the pickup outside so the food would not thaw. The temperature was around 12 degrees. When we left the center, Heather said she would be in touch and would pick up the products in the morning. That would be December 13th. While we were at the senior center working, we were told that Sherry Williams had called the sheriff's office and filed a report that we were stealing out of the senior center. Jake got a call from the sheriff and he explained that we were not stealing, but removing frozen food to save it. We were done, but waited about an hour because Heather and Sherry were on their way to Rudyard to tell us all off. When they came in, they were disrespectful and angry. I guess they wanted us to leave things alone and stay out of it. Since no one from the county senior center has been there since September, the result would have been either everything would thaw or the compressor would start a fire. We did not hear from Heather until after 5 on Friday that she was not coming to get the meat and the frozen food. She would be here today, Saturday, sometime. 40 hours from the time this incident started, she arrived with a trailer and 4 or 5 people, plus Sherry Williams and her daughter, to pick up the food. We overheard them say they were taking it all to the dump. I have pictures and video of all of this, including pictures of the inside of the freezer taken a month or so ago. There was thousands of taxpayer dollars and food in that freezer that have been there since we lost a regular good cook 7 months ago. This food has all been taken to the dump and wasted because Heather and Sherry didn't let us take care of it our way, which was to keep it frozen and not let it thaw and be wasted. The people in this town have always taken care of each other, worked together. To this date, Heather has never gotten back to us. Sherry and Heather have not tried to work with us and have done a very good job of taking down our whole senior program. We have not had consecutive meals since March of 2024 when our cook retired. We found out a few days ago the job has not been posted either. Worst thing about this food was purchased by our tax dollars. How do you defend this kind of waste? We are concerned tax-paying citizens. Stanley W. Langle, Willow Ray Langle. Second letter. Dear Commissioner Jake, I'm giving you this letter. If you would please share it with the Hill County Commissioners. I had a very disturbing incident in Rudyard on Saturday, December 14th, 2024, and after contemplating this over the weekend, I've decided to bring it to your attention as I was very bothered by it. Saturday, December 14th at about 12:40, I was on my way to take garbage to the dump by my usual route, which takes me past the senior center in Rudyard. I stopped across the street as there were 3 vehicles up near the side door of the center, one with a trailer that was full of meat. On Friday evening, the night before, 12/13/24, I was at a gathering and was told that many volunteers tried to save all the meat and freezer inventory at the senior center, but because of the compressor had gone out, the volunteers were trying to save what was still frozen. I was shown one pickup load at this time that was full of hamburger, which was still frozen. And I was asked at that time if I had freezer space, which I did not. Because of this knowledge, I have stopped across the street from the center on Saturday, 12/14/2024, was going to offer help. When a man came out the side door of the senior center screaming at me, which I could not hear the words, but did hear elevated voice. So I left and continued to the dump to empty my garbage. On the way back from the dump, I stopped in front of the Rudyard Theater, which is kitty corner from the senior center and directly across the street from the construction of the new community center. I do go by the construction site and stop often to see the progress. As I was looking across the street, 4 men came out of the senior center, all 4 standing at a stance. I really don't know how to explain it, but almost like vigilante stance in front of the trailer I had seen earlier with the meat in it, and pulled out their phones taking pictures of me. Very intimidating and frightening to say the least. I was so shaken by this behavior, I waved and left. The more I thought about this, how these men reacted to Mary was quite unnerving. My understanding after conversation with folks was that the Commissioner Sherry Williams was involved with people at the center. I'm appalled that a person representing a public view can behave in the fashion that I've witnessed on Saturday. In my opinion, this is in no way responsible way for anyone to act, especially from a public servant. The senior centers, not only in Rudyard, but everywhere, are an integral part of our communities. Many people have relied on these meals not only for an affordable nourishment, but for social contact, which is so important in isolated communities. I'm saddened and angered that we have not had any senior meals for over 6 months. I understand that many people have come forward to bring this to your attention. And this is my way, and this is the way we are treated. I, for one, would like to see you as commissioners be a part of positive solution, not the negativity I experienced from the hands of one commissioner. Jake, could you please tell me which rules, regulations, and guidelines Hill County commissioners are using? I would also like to know how to request where the funding dollars have been appropriated to for the senior centers that Hill County receives. I believe this is public knowledge. Cheryl Bowker, Rudyard. At the end of my night, Thursday, December 12th, at approximately 6:45 p.m., I went next door to make sure the furnace there was running. I stopped by the walk-in freezer to make sure all the county meat was frozen as I do occasionally. I noticed the rhubarb I had given Jesse, our former cook, earlier last summer was starting to thaw and something was dripping on the floor. As I've done in the past, I called in their troops to help me find freezer space to put it so it didn't spoil. One of my troops is Willie Langle, and she attempted to call Heather. When I called Jake to help, if he was close and he was on his way back from the Haver, he stopped and I suggested we load the stuff into some local freezers and some cold storage in the back of people's trucks so we could get a hold of Heather, as they might have room for it in Haver. Jake tried to call Heather. She did not call him back, so I texted her. So he texted her so she would know and be appraised of the situation. I believe he also spoke with Mark Peterson. I mentioned to Jake that they certainly did not want us to leave it to rot. Jake had to leave for a meeting, so I told him we would put it in cold storage in everyone's garages or back of pickups where it would remain frozen and the Hill County Council meeting could deal with it in the morning. Temp was supposed to be 13 degrees above. We took care of the stuff that was frozen and put it in the upright freezer in the center they had and back of pickups with cover to keep it cool for the night. Jake came back at about 7:45 that night and said the cops were called about someone stealing from the senior center. We laughed because we thought he was kidding. Apparently not. Cops had called Jake when he was on his way to the meeting to alert him to the fact that someone thought there was a thief stealing stuff from the center. Sherry or Heather then called Jake and said they were headed right behind the cops to see who was stealing. Cops rolled by and we waited for the ladies to explain what needed to be done and what we had done for them. No one here was stealing. We thought we were doing a good deed. Stuff was frozen on the left side, looking in that freezer, and the stuff was on the ground beef rolls. Sliced ham was running juice on the floor. Pork sausage rolls, or pork, I think, was beginning to thaw quickly, along with veggies, bread, buns, pizza crust, Cool Whip, hot dogs, chicken, and rhubarb. It was like 45 degrees in there. It just did not go down. When they arrived, there was a lot of accusation as to who had the right to save the meat and veggies in the freezers. Then there were accusations as to who gave me the right, and I said next time I can let it rot. Tempers flared. They were accusing us of stealing. We certainly would not have tried to get a hold of them if that had been the case. I explained what we had tried to do, and I showed them where to place the meat and asked them what they wanted to do with it. I showed them the partially full walk-in freezer that things were pretty much thawed and would probably need to be thawed. Most all of the rest was still salvageable. This was not our first time of rescuing county food or restaurant food. The photos, and we took photos and we sent them the photos we had taken before it started. Sherry and Heather were very concerned that someone was going to steal it. I explained we were putting this in cold sheds for the night to keep safe and keep it frozen, as no one had returned calls as to what they wanted to do with it. We asked again what they wanted to do with it. Seems like they would rather just rot and grow maggots. Heather said she could come down first thing in the morning and do their inventory. Sherry said she had interviews the next day. I kept hearing from Sherry, what's rights I have to do this and how dare I? We tried to explain the history of the building, the community involvement to keep running. She isn't interested. Let me know if you are. Heather said she checked the building in September. Everything was fine. 3 months is a long time to not check a freezer full of commodities and move it so it was usable. Volunteers waited for their Friday morning arrival. No one called and showed up Friday to pick up the commodities. I called the senior center twice, asked if someone was coming. No one knew the answer, but Heather was busy. After five, Heather called and said she would come up tomorrow, Saturday, with a crew to do inventory. I told her we could have delivered it if she had called us. They showed up at 11:30ish on Saturday. I overheard them talking, throwing it out. The hamburger was frozen solid still. When I asked Sherry about getting a copy of the inventory, she said I could talk to the county lawyer. I'm a county volunteer and this is what volunteers do. We have been watching this building for 30 years along with other volunteers, change the furnace filters, slop the sump pumps, and the men replaced it at their cost, notified the county of a basement full of water, repaired toilets, leaking frozen pipes, patched roofs, insulated the attic, repaired the roof, and kept an eye on the coolers and freezers and furnace, called the county when they have gone down. I have suggested many times that the county purchase the device, keep an eye on the coolers when they're not around. When the walk-in cooler went down in August, I alerted Heather at the senior center. It seems that someone is quite intent on making sure this program that was started in 1973 failed. Linda Pester, my beauty shop, is attached. Hill County Council on Aging or County Commissioners.
On that one's just for our records, finishing his new furnace.
Richard Pester, my wife called me about 7:20 PM on Thursday, December 12th, 2024, and said they needed help at the senior center because the walk-in freezer was down. She said to bring at least 4 coolers from home. I will try and save as much of the county commodities as we can. When I got there, some of the other people she had called had started putting as much of the stuff as possible in other freezers in the senior center. There were approximately 60 to 70 10-pound hamburger rolls that were still frozen. They were priority. Freezer was 45 to 50 degrees and outside temp that night 13 degrees. So we loaded the frozen 700 pounds of hamburger into a guy's pickup that had a locking top cover to keep for the night. The reason the cooler went down was the condenser on the fan motor was plugged due to lack of maintenance. The compressor was red hot and not working. When the shit show started, then the shit show started when Commissioner Sherry Williams and Heather Sinclair showed up and basically accused us of stealing food. Words were exchanged. We were informed that the sheriff was called and they were on their way to investigate a robbery. I volunteered and worked on that building since the county acquired it in 1978. I volunteered and worked on sewer problems and water problems. I put in numerous hours helping with the maintenance stuff on this building. When all things are done, we're done. Sherry said she was busy the next day, but Heather said they would be up the next morning to pick up the still frozen stuff. We waited all the next day and nobody showed up. By noon Saturday, they showed up, but the stuff was starting to thaw. We need volunteers in our community, and this is the most bizarre situation I've ever seen. It makes you never want to volunteer for anything again. Richard Pester.
Rick is the fire chief of our local volunteer fire department.
Is there any other public comments on agenda items?
Well, all I can say, it sounds like web of deceit. So I don't, on her part, I mean,
Not just her part.
Yeah.
It was Heather's involved in all of this. And she's impossible to deal with.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother issue.
Is she appointed by you guys?
This seems like a very unfortunate set of
Yeah.
circumstances across the board. It's admirable that the community will step up to try to rectify a situation. And I can't help but wonder if there's, health standards that are seen very draconian. When I go out, when I see a power surge go out, only a couple hours, and Walmart having to completely empty all of their perishable stuff and throw it in the dump, it is disappointing. I think there's more to this story, and none of it's probably good. But enough said.
wow.
Concerning part, I guess, is the men that were helping her in our strict policy against no children in a workplace. As a county commissioner, your whole county is your workplace. So just make
She made comments about people bringing kids to work.
exactly. I was yelled at because I brought my daughter in for 15 minutes.
She brought her daughter up on Saturday when they finally showed up to get the stuff.
Yeah.
Those people not to.
Pretty much. It was very, yeah, and I wasn't even working. I was coming up to help somebody do something in my office. So
Other comments on agenda items? Okay, I'm gonna jump back up to claims and payroll. We have two, Ayers and Associates, Health Department, Kim Berg, it's for cloud services, $390. Blue Cross Medicare Advantage, this is for premium retirees over 65, paid through PERS. $861.90. Is any public comment on non-agenda item? Hearing none, meeting adjourned at 10:56. There's somebody?
We wanted to tell you thank you for being here for so long, for showing up and being a great commissioner.
and his retirement party is December 31st all day, if anybody wants to come in
Everyone should come.
to attend.
One's on an
Take your
agenda
notes.
question.
I don't, actually, no, you
Start
gotta ask that one. I don't
up
know.
on Wild
He's in
Horse
charge of
Trail
this.
next week.
Let's
But
finish
there will be
meeting and all
Okay.
that. Okay, meeting adjourned at 10:56. So, Pete just asked about the, Wild Horse Road. Middle of December, that went out to bid. Bid opening is sometime the first part of January. I don't know the date. They said you can find